Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
ESPN put out a list. Top 30 best pro wrestlers under 30 in the world today. Number 1, Dirty Dom. Number 2, MJF.
I think Dom is deserving to be number 1. I think he is probably, like I said, one of the greatest heels in the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, he can't talk on the microphone.
The fans love it because they feel like they're a part of the show.
And that's the best.
Without their boos, he's not the best heel.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Live from the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough Studio, FedEx Forum. We're in downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle's right there producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you're ready to start another winning streak, because that's the plan tonight with the struggling Kings in town. Did you know the Kings are struggling?
I did know that, yes.
They've been struggling a little bit.
I noticed.
I'm a little disappointed in them. They're not meeting expectations. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, around 10:20, Mike Wallace is going to join me, senior editor, Grind City Media. He's on X at my Mike Check. He'll help us get ready for Kings Grizz tonight. Mike Wallace is going to be here in the next segment. Finish talking to Mike, take a break, come back, do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway's Tigers improved to 7-1 last night with an 81-71 victory over Louisiana Tech. Not the smoothest night inside FedEx Forum, but given that programs like Kansas and North Carolina, Auburn took tall losses last night, all wins are good wins. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a good win for the Memphis basketball program. We'll talk Tiger hoops. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. Like I mentioned, number 1 Kansas and number 2 Auburn both lost last night in road games. So who's the new number 1 in the top 25 and 1? I'll tell you in just a bit. If you're a Tennessee fan, you might want to be here for that. Ryan Silverfield's Tigers have accepted an invitation to play in something called the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. The opponent is a 6-6 Big 12 team that recently fired its coach. Sounds exciting. I'll ask Bennett for his thoughts on that. We'll do that in the third segment. MLB's winter meetings, they start next week in Dallas. ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan went on record last night and stated that Juan Soto, he believes, will agree to a contract with somebody before the winter meetings start on Monday, and he believes it'll be, Jeff Passan said, in excess of $600 million and perhaps as much as $700 million. So we're close to getting a Juan Soto decision. Tell you more about that situation. We'll do it in the second hour, and authorities in New York City continue to look for a man who murdered United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Midtown Manhattan yesterday morning. The whole thing was caught on video. I won't show it to you.
I've seen it.
I don't think they'll let me. I've tried.
No, correct.
I've tried before to get some, sneak it past it.
No death videos allowed.
I know. I tried before. I've tried.
Yeah, I know you've tried.
But that old Darnell, he's always sitting just 1-4 down there.
Yeah, he's not going to let it happen.
He's
not going to let it slide.
That old Darnell just always sitting right down there on the third floor, just waiting for me to try to get a murder video in the.
One day
he's going to slip up. One day he's going to be in a meeting or be distracted by Wordle, and I'm going to have a murder video for you.
You're damn right.
But not today. Today's not the day. I ain't going to show it to you, but, you can find it no problem on the internet. Horrific scene. I'll get you updated on that situation best I can. We'll do it during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll eventually do GP's Carryout and we'll call it a day. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with your Memphis Grizzlies because game 23 of a scheduled 82, it's set for tonight. We're going to do it inside FedEx Forum. Sacramento Kings are in town. Tip is scheduled for 7 o'clock. Tickets are available. Ticketmaster.com. Right now on StubHub, by the way. Listen to what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
On StubHub right now, fees and all. Because, sometimes I try to get you with the fees.
Yeah.
Fees and all. You can get into the building tonight for just $8.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Bennett, you can get into the building tonight for just $8. You can't go see Wicked tonight anywhere in the area for $8.
Nah, movie theater tickets are expensive.
You don't have to tell me, Bennett.
Right.
You don't have to tell me.
That's a damn good deal.
So if you've always wanted to go to a game or take your kid to a game, you can do it tonight for just $8 a ticket. And if you do it, you'll get to see in person 2, I think, likely Western Conference playoff teams. Even if Sacramento has stumbled out of the gate this season, the Kings, they finished 46-36 last season. They were 10 games above 500. So far this season, just 10-12. They're 5th in the Pacific Division, 12th in the West, after going 2-6 in their past 8 games. And somewhat interesting, their struggles aren't really injury related. As you likely know, Bennett, the Grizzlies lead the NBA in games missed by players because of injuries, suspensions, and or personal reasons. And that's among the reasons it's awesome to be sitting here at 14-8 right now, tied for 3rd in the Western Conference. Meantime, the Kings are 26th out of 30 teams in players missing games for injuries or suspensions or personal reasons, with 30 representing the best. So they've barely had anybody miss games relative to the rest of the league. Their leading scorer, De'Aaron Fox, has played in all 22 games this season. DeMar DeRozan, the Kings' second leading scorer, has appeared in 17. And Domantas Sabonis, the Kings' third leading scorer, he started and appeared in 20 games so far this season. So the Kings' top 3 scorers have combined to play in 59 games. While the Grizzlies' top 3 scorers, that of course is Jaren Jackson, John Morant, Desmond Bane, they've combined to play in just 47 games and barely together at all. Regardless, the Grizz 14-8, Kings 10-12. Big Bet Bennett, is it time for the Kings to look in the mirror? They are one of the healthiest teams in the NBA, but still sitting 2 games below 500. I'm disappointed in them. Are you disappointed in them?
Yes, very disappointed in them. A little worried, a little nervous. I just they're. What
are you nervous about?
Well, they won their last game. They beat the Rockets, scored 120 points in the game, and then the one before that they were competitive and lost a close one against the Spurs. I'm wondering if they're starting
being competitive against the Spurs. Don't impress me. Pop had a stroke.
I got it. I'm just saying. I'm wondering if they might be starting to turn a corner. I would not take this one lightly if I was the Grizzlies tonight. This is a team that's going to come in here hungry for a win. It's against a Western Conference team that is, solidly in the playoffs right now in the Memphis Grizzlies. This is a big game for the Kings. I wouldn't take it lightly if I was the Grizzlies. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think this is a bad team coming in here tonight.
You don't think
today.
No,
I don't think they're a 10-12 team. I think that they're.
Well, they are definitely a 10-12 team.
I understand. I think they are.
I looked it up.
I think they are better than a 10-12 team.
Perhaps you're right.
Yeah, I do.
What I'm hearing from you is you don't think this is the lowly Pistons.
Not at all. The Pistons aren't lowly, but I
think I proved my point on that one. I think I proved my point on that one.
But no, I don't think this is a bad team coming in here today. I don't.
Check this out.
Okay.
I sort of got It's one of those deals last night where I'm waiting to go on CBS Sports HQ after Auburn and Duke, but I really need to watch Auburn and Duke. So I'm in my office and I'm watching the game, but you can also do other things. So I just start digging on stuff, and you just end up finding weird little things. Here's a weird little thing. De'Aaron Fox is a 26-year-old former All-Star as recently as 2 seasons ago. All right? It's a 2023 All-Star. 26 years old. He's in his prime, right? That's their best player. DeMar DeRozan is their second leading scorer. He's a 6-time All-Star. He's 35 years old, so on the back end of it.
Yep.
But he was also an All-Star as recently as 2 seasons ago in 2023. And by 2 seasons ago, I mean 22 months ago. Domantas Sabonis is their third leading scorer. He's a 3-time All-Star, also as recently as 2 seasons ago. So here's what I'm telling you. The Kings right now have 3 players who played in the All-Star game 22 months ago. Do you know how many other current NBA teams also have 3 players who played in the All-Star game 22 months ago?
It's
a trivia time.
It's a trivia time. I mean, I'm going to say none.
There is one.
There's one. Okay, wait. Okay, the question is, how many current NBA teams also have 3 players who played in the All-Star game?
That's right.
22 months. Oh, it's the Boston Celtics.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is the Boston Celtics because they have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Drew Holiday.
Yep.
It's the Boston Celtics. That's it. The only 2 franchises in the NBA right now currently operating with at least 3 players who participated in the 2023 NBA All-Star Game are the Celtics and the Kings. One of those franchises is the reigning champ and the projected favorite to win the title again this season. And the other one is 10-12 and heading into tonight's game here in FedEx Forum as, I don't want to say one of the most disappointing teams in the NBA. I'll let other people describe things that way. But clearly, when you finish 10 games above 500 last season and you've got this core, you don't expect to be 2 games under 500 on December 5th. I think it's time for them. I think it's time for Sacramento to look in the mirror.
And it is kind of because there have been like rumblings out there about, De'Aaron Fox's future in Sacramento. Now, if he makes, what was it? If he makes, it's something like if he makes the All-Star team or All NBA, he incentive kicks in in his deal. And so people are suggesting that if he does that and has a really good year, that he's definitely going to be back in Sacramento because he's going to make the most money there. But that is just kind of a weird situation. I mean, that's a team that I think that we've thought of over the past couple of years is a good team in the Western Conference. Like, they've been a playoff team.
They have gone from being the joke, like
the joke of the
laugh
league.
at, you laugh at them, like, the Kings.
It's like the Pistons in the East, the Kings in the West. Yeah.
Except the Pistons at least have history and banners and
they've
stuff.
won,
and the Kings are just always a joke.
That's right.
They haven't.
Maybe it's like the Wizards in the East
Perhaps.
and the Kings in the
Kings
West.
have shed themselves of that label in recent years. I think we're agreeing on that.
Yes.
They're
absolutely.
not a joke.
They're not a joke, no.
But it's time for them to look in the mirror.
I think it's time to look in the mirror. Not tonight. Not tonight.
Don't look. I say wake up tomorrow. I say
say
disappoint tonight as well. But then wake up tomorrow, and it's time for you to look in the mirror. Grizzlies status report for tonight. Oh, man, did you see this one?
Looks pretty good, huh?
It's short.
It's short. That's right.
I like a short status report.
I do, too. Everyone's ready.
At Grizzlies PR, as far as I'm concerned, fewer words, the better.
I agree.
Fewer characters, the better. Very short status report tonight. Zach Edey, out. Gigi Jackson, out. Vince Williams, out. And that's it. Everybody else is expected to be available, and that's among the reasons the Grizzlies are listed as a 2.5-point favorite tonight. It opened at 4.5. Now it's down to 2.5.
See, I told you this is not your typical 10 and 12 team coming in here. I'm telling you, they are better than that. Evidence being they have 3 All-Stars on their team.
Isn't that wild?
It is wild. I mean, again, DeMar DeRozan's an older player, but that's a dude that the Grizzlies have struggled against over the years. I mean, it's DeMar DeRozan.
It's a 6-time All-Star.
Same with Sabonis. Sabonis has always been a tough matchup, and you don't have Zach Edey tonight, but I think Jaren's going to take that matchup pretty serious. Jaren always shows up and has big games against the bigs that, I want to be nice, that aren't as good as him.
Right. But
are considered his peers, if you will.
Okay, so Domantas Sabonis, big.
Yeah.
You would argue not as good as Jaren.
I don't think so.
But
the numbers would say otherwise. I think Jaren's a better player.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis is a 3-time All-Star. Mm-hmm. Jaren Jackson's a 1-time All-Star.
Yeah.
You think he takes that personally?
Yes. Jaren always has big games against the guys that are kind of considered his peers, especially in the Western Conference.
All right, Bennett, that sounds like a prediction from you.
Yeah.
That sounds like you might need to...
I bet Jaren has a big game tonight.
Big Bet Bennett is betting on Jaren Jackson Jr. to have a big game tonight. Unimpressed by Domantas Sabonis. It's time to smack him around.
Yes.
It's time to make him the face of these disappointing Kings. Mm-hmm. Tonight, Domantas Sabonis gets made the face of the disappointing Kings, and the man who will be responsible for putting him in that position will be Jaren Jackson Jr., otherwise known as Trip.
I think so.
Okay.
One of these two things is going to happen. Ja's going to get the best of De'Aaron Fox tonight, or Jaren is going to get the best of Domantas Sabonis tonight. One of those two things is definitely happening.
Can't wait to see.
Yeah.
7 o'clock tonight, tip-off inside FedEx Forum. It's the disappointing Kings who need to look in the mirror against your Memphis Grizzlies, who are, coming off of a loss in Dallas. But let's look at it this way. You can frame things however you want.
Mm-hmm. I like this frame game.
When I look at the Grizzlies, here's what I see. I see a team that's finally healthy at the top of the roster and 6-1 in its last 7 games. And the only reason they're not on a 7-game winning streak, or at least among the reasons they're not on a 7-game winning streak, those referees let the Mavericks shoot 26 free throws in the fourth quarter the other night.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just take all the context out of the game, they lost on the road against a Dallas team that played in the NBA Finals last season.
Reigning Western Conference champions.
Reigning Western Conference champions,
6-1 in the past 7 with a lone loss on the road by single digits to your reigning Western Conference champions. I feel fine.
I feel good, too.
I'm ready to lay 2.5.
I think so.
We would be violating all sorts of rules that we're not allowed to violate if we did that.
We won't be doing that.
We won't be doing that. But I'm ready to.
Yeah.
I'm ready to. I'm just strong enough not to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm ready to.
Yeah. I feel good about it. I don't like that it moved, but I'm feeling good.
You just all that line moved
$8 tickets? You kidding me?
On StubHub, I went and looked it up. Fees and all. You can click review your order. What are my fees? $8. You can get into the building tonight for $8 to see Jaren Jackson Jr. embarrass Domantas Sabonis.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
$8. You gonna pay that much for a cup of coffee at Starbucks?
Yeah, right.
What do you want? What do you want out of this life? Ben, it's time for you to figure out what do you want out of this life. Do you want an $8 cup of coffee, or you want to see Jaren Jackson Jr. embarrass Domantas Sabonis?
Well, I like to say that life is all about the moments.
I think so.
Right?
I believe that.
You don't want to pay for stuff. You want to pay for the moments.
Experiences.
The experiences, yes. You don't want to pay for the stuff. Stuff goes away. You lose it. Yeah,
stuff goes away.
Yeah, it breaks, whatever. Experiences last forever.
You can go get you an $8 cup of coffee at Starbucks, all right? Latte, put whipped cream on it. It's going to be gone in 30 minutes. And when you're done with it, you're going to wish you hadn't even had it. You're going to have ingested empty calories, and you probably got to go doo-doo.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I just drink like the battery acid.
That's what I'm telling
coffee.
You. That's what I'm telling you. You over there saving money. You got $8 to go spend tonight.
I mean, I shouldn't say this is actually good coffee, but it's they take care of us here. But
that coffee will come and go for $8. But you'll be able to tell your grandkids someday. You know, I was in the building tonight. Jaren Jackson Jr. embarrassed Domantas Sabonis, 3-time All-Star.
Yes.
And the disappointing Kings had to wake up the next day and look in the mirror. You want to tell your grandkids about that someday? It will cost you $8 to have that story for your grandkids. Go get a cup of coffee if you want to. I know where I'd rather spend my money. Inside FedEx Forum.
Enough said.
Enough said. Kings Grizz tonight, 7 o'clock tip. Mike Wallace will help us get ready for it. He'll be up next.
Who will lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren. I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz Beat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you've got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio, and on Thursdays in the second segment, I'm joined by senior editor, Grind City Media, the great Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace is GP. How you doing on this Thursday morning?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to being here again with you. Sorry I couldn't be in the studio, but, you know, we do it like this sometimes.
Buddy, I cannot reasonably ask you to show up here at 10:20 in the morning and then also be here till 11 o'clock at night. So I appreciate you being here in whatever form. Let's start with the state of the Grizzlies. Some people, and these were the people I would call the haters, they would say the Grizz are coming off of a loss. They collapsed in the fourth down at Dallas. I choose to look at it as the Grizzlies are 6-1 in their past 7, healthy at the top of the roster with a home game tonight against the Kings, tied for third in the Western Conference standings. It's good stuff. How do you look at it?
I look at it that way too. I look at it that, you know, the rest of this month of December is going to tell me a lot more about the Grizzlies than the month of November did. And, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, this is a team that turned the corner. It did what it was supposed to do. It feasted on some inferior competition in terms of teams that were struggling. They solidified themselves at home in November. And now you go into December, particularly this week, where you have 2 games that are sort of, bookmarked right here against teams that were in the NBA Finals last year. You lost to Dallas on Tuesday in a hard-fought game that, you were positioned to win. And now you got Sacramento tonight, and then on Saturday, you have the defending champion Boston Celtics. So I think this is a real big test for the Grizzlies. I hope everyone stays relatively healthy so we can really get a real analysis of where this team is. But, I like where they are. I figured that coming into the season, they were a 4-5-ish type seed in the West, and that's pretty much where they are right now anyway.
On the Kings, with tongue firmly planted in cheek, we were joking earlier about them being disappointing and need to look in the mirror. But they are 10-12 after finishing 10 games above 500 last season, and they have been one of the healthiest teams in the NBA. The Grizzlies have been the least healthy team in the NBA as it pertains to people being available for games, period. The Kings have been remarkably healthy relative to the rest of the league and yet have struggled. Do you have a sense for why that is, or is it early and not that concerning?
I think it's because they're having to they incorporated DeMar DeRozan, who's really a half-court, more slow it down type player. He's more of an isolation player when he's most effective. And that's not the case. That's not, how they've been playing the last couple of seasons. They've been, pretty much get a shot up in 10 seconds or less type of high tempo, high pace team. They've gone through Domantas Sabonis a lot more in the past than they have been able to do this year as well too. And then, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, that's a dynamic that's explosive, but they're still trying to find their way too. So, it's one of those situations where they recently shook up their starting five, and they're trying to get some things jump started. But I do think this team has a lot of talent, and I do think they will be a factor in the playoff race in the West in short order.
Since I last talked to you, Jalen Wells was named the Western Conference Rookie of the Month for games involving October and November. That's obviously an awesome achievement, regardless of where you're picked, even if it's number one in the draft. Nothing's guaranteed. But to be picked deep into the second round and achieve this type of stuff while starting, like actually starting for a team that's tied for third in the Western Conference right now. I know we've touched on him here and there throughout the season, but where are you at on Jalen Wells, what he's been able to do and show so far in this rookie season?
It's surprising. It really is surprising because of where he was picked. I mean, he was picked 39th in the draft, second round. And usually they don't, 39th picks don't get a chance to play as early in the season, and particularly in a starting role as he has. Even with G.G. Jackson, it took a half a season before we were able to see what he was able to do. Same with Vince Williams. Those were second-round picks as well. But the fact that Jalen Wells has the size, he's the prototype for that wing that the Grizzlies have been trying to find and solidify for a long time. He can shoot. He's mature. So I think he gives you a little bit of everything. Like if you can combine, G.G. Jackson, Vince Williams Jr., and even a young Dylan Brooks, and come up with the type of player that you want, it would be Jalen Wells. He's just his temperament puts him in a position where he's defensively, he's taking on assignments. He's already faced LeBron twice. He's faced Luka Doncic. He's faced Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's faced Damian Lillard. So he's faced these guys that are elite level players, and he hasn't backed down. And I think that's what keeps him in the starting lineup. And then when he gives you the punch on offense every now and then, that's a luxury right there.
On one hand, you look at this draft class and you go, okay, Zach Edey looked like a Rookie of the Year candidate before he went down with the ankle. Jalen Wells is, by definition, if you're the reigning Rookie of the Month in the NBA for the first month plus of the season, you're a Rookie of the Year candidate. And Cam Spencer just went for 51 for the Memphis Hustle down in South Haven. Amazing. Across the board, it looks like they hit. I've heard other people say this is great, but be careful with Jalen Wells starting on the wing and eventually Zach Edey starting in the middle, because when you get to playoff basketball, good luck trying to find examples of teams starting two rookies that go where it is you want to go. Is that a valid point?
It's a point. I don't know how valid it is because I haven't seen these two guys in particular in that moment, right? Who are they going up against where, look at it like this. Depending on who you're matching up against, if let's just say the Grizzlies face Oklahoma City, look how young that team is, right? Going up against a young team, relatively speaking, when it comes to these guys in these roles. But if they're going up against the Lakers or maybe the Nuggets or the Clippers or a team that's stocked with veterans, then that might bode, it might be a little bit more valid. But at this stage, we still have, 3/4 of a season to go. And those guys can gain a lot of valuable experience. And what they're being asked to do isn't something that they wouldn't necessarily be able to do in the playoffs. You just hope that your veterans around them can do what they need to do. So all of the emphasis and a lot of the stress won't come on a Jalen Wells or a Zach Edey or some of your younger guys. But hey, listen, this is why you play. You gain the experience, and they're gaining a lot of it early. And I think it's going to pay off towards the end.
As noted, the Grizzlies are coming off of a loss in Dallas. Immediately, people go to the box score and, yes, point out the free throw discrepancy. I don't want to bore you with that conversation. The other thing people point out is, Jaren Jackson played 29 minutes. Ja Morant played 31. Desmond Bane played 31. Go down to the Mavericks. Kyrie Irving played 35. Luka Doncic played 40. This has been a consistent thing with the Grizzlies. I'm not even here to rant and rave about it because it's clearly by design. They are doing this intentionally. It's not just something that's happening. They're doing it intentionally. But fans get frustrated. Nobody cares when you win and your stars play relative to the rest of the league a low amount of minutes. But when you lose, particularly when you blow a game where you got a fourth quarter lead, it pops up. What do you make of that conversation?
You know, it is, because when you win, it's balance, it's depth.
That's
it's
right.
8 players in double figures. It's everybody is contributing. It's next man. And then when you lose, it's okay. I need Ja Morant to play 6 more minutes a game. Like I need Jaren Jackson Jr. to play 4 more minutes a game. I don't buy into that, but I do agree with you wholeheartedly based on just my knowledge of the league, but also knowing what the process is that the Grizzlies are taking. They are intentional about how the minutes are being distributed right now. And that's to preserve these guys for a longer duration of the season and make sure as best they can. Now, you can't do anything about freak injuries, ankle sprains, knee strain, all of these kind of things. But to make sure guys are not carrying such a heavy load so early in the season, balance this out. This is the way they want to play based on, number one, health preservation, and also stylistically in terms of what you're asking them to do in terms of playing in this up-tempo, high-intensity offensive style. So I don't mind that. And these guys have pretty much answered the call for the most part. Every once in a while, you get into a game where you say, okay, should Jaren have come back 2 minutes earlier than Taylor put back in? Yes, you could debate that at the end of the day. But overall, the Grizzlies have a strategy, and it's gotten them to, as you said, top 4 in the West. And I think it's going to continue to be the case until we see otherwise. Taylor said it. I'm going to play 9 to 11, and I'm going to continue to do that. And these guys have to continue to respond and hold each other accountable for the minutes and the effort that they're showing while they're out there.
It's such a fascinating situation that I think you can argue from either side and never get like a clear answer. It's almost like our little local version of who's the GOAT, LeBron or MJ. Like we could argue that every day, 52 weeks a year, and if you believe one thing and I believe the other, we probably ain't moving each other off of our positions. This is similar in the sense that I get it when Grizzlies fans watch a game that was winnable become a loss, and you look up and you go, if Luka Doncic can play 40 minutes, why can't Ja Morant? I am totally understanding of that point. On the other hand, the Grizzlies as an organization are quite clearly saying we believe this is best, even if it wasn't best for us on Tuesday night. It might not have been best for us on Tuesday night, but it is best for us long term. The problem with that approach, to the extent that there is a problem, is that it guarantees nothing. Just because you rest people on a Tuesday night in December, it doesn't prevent Ja Morant or Jaren Jackson or Desmond Bane or any other important player from dealing with some sort of minor or major injury in the postseason. And then I can just already see it, fans going, what was the point of holding them to 30 minutes a game if we get to the postseason and we're still right back where we always are? How do you make sense of all of that?
It is tough because, that's playing, you can play the result from that standpoint, right? But you can also say if you have depth and you have guys that are able to produce, why not use them? Why not go deeper in your bench, particularly earlier in the season where, again, you have to look at the Grizzlies' schedule too. I think people need to understand that the Grizzlies played more. They got to 21 games in the season faster than any other team in the league, right? They had the hardest schedule in terms of condensed nature of games. I mean, they opened the season with 6 games in 9 nights. And then they had another 3 games over 4 nights right after that. So they played a whole bunch of games in a short amount of time, and they needed that kind of that depth to rely on that. And they still had the injuries. We still saw, Ja Morant go out. We saw, Marcus Smart get hurt and then get sick. We saw Zach Edey, who's still out. So it's not like it guarantees teams are going to be healthy. But what you're saying is that we're playing at a certain style that we require a lot more of them in the minutes that they're on the floor. Now, if you want to go back and isolate the Dallas game, the Grizzlies didn't lose the Dallas game because Ja Morant played 6 fewer minutes than Luka Doncic. They lost the Dallas game because they couldn't stay disciplined defensively when they fouled too much. That game could have been the other way had Dallas made more free throws. But the fact that Dallas missed a whole lot of free throws and committed 25 turnovers, that kept the Grizzlies in the game in the lead on one hand. But on the other hand, the Grizzlies were just undisciplined down the stretch, and they admitted it. They said that's why we lost. We were undisciplined, and we didn't do what we needed to do in certain stages of that game. So be it. You learn from it, and you say, okay, let's pick it up and see what we can move forward with.
The Grizzlies did announce yesterday that Gigi Jackson, still recovering from foot surgery, is expected to be reevaluated, or I should be more specific, expected to actually return to play in 6 to 8 weeks from now. Is that about what you expected, more or less?
It's semantics, man, and you got to really read the fine print when these injury updates come out. You do, because when it first came out, I said on track, on schedule. Well, that's not necessarily consistent with what we heard earlier. Like everything is tracking towards December with him being ready. But when I went back and read what they said when he first got hurt, he would be reevaluated in December. So now this is the reevaluation. This isn't the, hey, he's returning to play. Now it's, okay, 6 to 8 weeks should be the return to play window. It's a little bit longer. I'm not going to sit here and lie, man. I mean, look, I work for the Grizzlies. I'm here. My paycheck has Memphis Grizzlies LLC, right? But I can be honest and say that I was a little bit confused in terms of the wording and why it was worded certain ways. I kind of was thinking, and I understood it to be more of a December time frame for him to come back, but now it's January and February. That was on me. I didn't read the fine print as well as I should have. But what the Grizzlies have clearly indicated is now it's a 6 to 8 week window, and that should be with him being back on the court in a return to play format. And I hope for the best, because I know Gigi's chomping at the bit, man. Every single time I see him on the court, he's trying to do more. He's trying to show people that he's engaged and involved and progressing. And for him to be 20 years old and have to go through this, I can't imagine how tough it is for him.
During the Dallas game, he did an in-game interview with Rob Fisher, and it's just I've been around Gigi just a little. I don't pretend to know him well, but in those settings, he's just, the personality just pops through the television. Like he's really great at that stuff.
And you know what? And this is not a bad thing. This is more of an endearing and you gotta love him kind of affable thing. He reminds me a lot of a young Jameis Winston in terms of how his personality is so infectious. Now, I know he's not going to pray to God to deliver him from pick sixes. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where he wants to be the center of joy in any room that he's in any conversation he's in. He wants to bring the joy out in other people. I mean, he and Jalen Wells went around and they drove from Jaren's house to Dez's house for Thanksgiving last week. And I just can imagine those two personalities in the car with Jalen being more stoic and reserved and Gigi being completely off the chain, man. Those guys that would make a good sitcom, a good comedy right there, just riding around town with those two young guys. But that's what Gigi is, man. And he brings that kind of joy and infectious nature to the way he plays basketball, too. He's always willing to have fun. And I can't wait to see him get back to having fun when he's actually out there practicing and playing.
Coincidentally, this past summer at Peach Jam, I guess, in North Augusta, South Carolina, I was watching some grassroots game, and I was sitting with Frank Martin, the UMass coach, who previously was the head coach of South Carolina, and so has known Gigi since he was very young. And just had great things to say about it. He was like, wonderful family, funny kid. Like, you got to keep him between the lines a little bit, but like for the most part, had nothing but like he's just infectious personality, wonderful family. You guys are going to be really happy with him. So that was good to hear. And every time I see him in an interview setting, he's impressive. He sounds and talks the way you would want a young person to sound and talk. Last thing before I let you go. Lakers were down in your old stomping grounds last night. Got beat by 41. LeBron James did hit a three-pointer to snap that streak, but he has been getting a lot of attention, not so good lately, starting to maybe look his age. I don't know whether you can hire somebody who has never coached in the NBA and was recently doing a podcast like this and it work. But I know this, when it doesn't go well, it doesn't take long for people to say, well, this is what happens when you hire a podcaster. This is where we're at with the Lakers right now. It's not pretty. And J.J. Redick in his post-game press conference last night seemed not necessarily hit a panic button, but was like, I'm embarrassed. We've got to get this fixed. I'm responsible, but it's not just me. Players as well. And LeBron and AD echoed that. It just seems like it's gotten real messy real quick.
Yeah, but see, this is also what happens when you rely on two players who are plus 35 over there. I can't remember how old Anthony Davis is, but it seems like he's been in the league for a long time, right? He started the season playing at an MVP level, and I think he still has that in him. But the way that they're relying on those two, it seems like they just get nothing consistently from anyone else. And when those two struggle, it's egregious in terms of how this team has no other answers for that. And the Lakers should be better positioned than that. They really should be. But what did J.J. Redick think he was signing up for? Yeah. Like, I mean, this is part of the thing that, okay, when you fashion yourself as, hey, I'm the smartest guy in the room, in any room I'm in, and you get into a situation where you don't have answers anymore, it looks really, really bad. And I thought that press conference in Miami last night was a bad look for JJ, because 20 games into the season, it seemed like he was out of answers. He was out of motivational tools. He was out of everything. And then he wanted to say, hey, it's on the players. I'm not out there. I can't do anything once the whistle's blown, but yet I'm responsible for it. So he was all over the place in terms of how he was applying accountability and how he was accepting it. And that's not a reassuring place to be if you're a Lakers fan or if you're a Lakers front office. Now, having said that, I could look up in 15 games and see this team turn it right back around and get great again or really, really good again, and it wouldn't surprise me either. But that's just the ebb and flow of an NBA season, man, particularly when you have high interest, you're in a major market, and you got superstars that everything they do or say is going to make headlines.
That is Mike Wallace, Grind City Media. Make sure you're following him on X at MyMikeCheck, consuming all his work on the website, grindcitymedia.com. You're the best, buddy. I appreciate you being here. I'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Bye. Mike Wallace, Grind City Media. We come back, turn our attention to college basketball. Penny Hardaway's Tigers improved to 7-1 last night. Victory over Louisiana Tech inside FedEx Forum. Wasn't the smoothest night they've ever had in the building, but a win is a win. We watched a lot of teams lose last night, Bennett. Tigers won. I've moved them up to number 12 in the top 25 and won. Oh. We'll talk Tiger basketball next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
There was a tweet from NBA G League that Cam Spencer was, quote, unconscious. Cam Spencer had 51 points on 75% shooting. The Grizzlies' front office ability to find talent late in the draft continues to be a massive, massive positive for this team.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Yellow laces, really bright yellow primary color. You got black on the trim and on the edges.
I gotta get 'em.
And you got some red there as well. Look at that right there, Mike. Look at that right there.
Man, look at that G. Look at that G, boy. That G is moving strong right there, too, man.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
We're going to need, the Forum rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either. That's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's Ortho South at orthosouth.org. Now I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Final score, Memphis 81, Louisiana Tech 71 inside FedEx Forum last night. So it's a victory. Tigers are now 7-1. They didn't cover, had a chance in the final seconds to cover that 11.5, but they couldn't quite get it done. It's a 10-point victory, though. They were in a fight for most of the night.
No, they were. We talked about this yesterday. I'm hoping, because again, now that you won the game, you're rooting for Louisiana Tech. I mean, that team's in a bad league. That looked like a formidable opponent last night that the Tigers were playing. Like, I think they have a chance to actually do something in Conference USA this year, and so you hope that they do that, and so that looks like a good win, come Selection Sunday for the Tigers.
Right now, Liberty would be projected to win CUSA.
Mm-hmm.
They're 66th at KenPom, 8-1 on the season, but Louisiana Tech is projected to finish second in CUSA. They're 105th at KenPom. So quality basketball team that isn't going to resonate nationally when you beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not leading. Scott Van Pelt's not leading Sports Center talking about Memphis' big win over Louisiana Tech, but it was a real victory over a team that is expected to win a lot of games this season. And on a night where we watched other good teams get caught, sure, by better opponents than what Louisiana Tech is, but still on a night where we watched very good teams with Final Four national championship aspirations take losses. I'm happy to take any win you can get.
Yeah.
Just keep it moving. And if you're looking for other stuff that was perhaps interesting, the Mississippi State team that's on your schedule pounded Pitt last night, and the UConn team that you've already beaten got its first signature win of the season. They beat Baylor last night inside of Gamble Pavilion. So I think on some level, on multiple levels, good night for the Tigers. And they didn't shoot it as well from three as they had been shooting it from three, but they're still shooting 45.2% from the arc on the season. That currently ranks second in the country. I moved them up to number 12 in the top 25-1 heading into Sunday's game against Arkansas State, which will be the second straight home game. And I get tired of talking about attendance because, how many times can you say the same thing?
Yeah.
But it was a topic of conversation, at least on social media last night. I saw Dev tweet about it. Mm-hmm. There apparently wasn't many people here.
No.
And I guess the obvious question would be, what do you want? You're playing a top 100-ish team. Your program is ranked 16th in the AP poll. You got everything you say you want. You want a nationally relevant program that is competing at the tip top of the sport. I don't know if we'll be able to say you got that in January, we got that in February, you got that in March. We'll see. I hope so, but we'll see. But you got that right now. And you can't come downtown on a Wednesday night to see the Tigers? What do you make of that?
Well, one thing that, because I was, looking at all that stuff last night too, the first thing that came to my mind is what Cal did during that era is like pretty unprecedented. Filling up an NBA arena every single game for
the biggest, you're right.
Against East Carolina and Tulane, I just don't know if that's ever going to be done again. I
don't think it ever will be. I think he's one of one, and it is actually crazy looking back that he was able to
happened.
Mostly fill that up for games they were going to win by 25 points. If you remember, he got real hands-on with it, though. He went out and I don't know what company he got to contribute to this, whether it was Best Buy or
the free TV every game. Yeah,
they would give away a free flat screen to somebody in the upper deck every game, and that served, at least the idea behind it was to serve as an incentive. Hey, I've got these upper deck tickets, or I don't know if I want to go to the game tonight.
Yeah,
but God, we got the tickets. Might as well go. We could get a free TV, or don't have the tickets, but it's not expensive to get into the upper deck, and we could get a free TV. I don't know how much it actually helped, but I know it was something John thought helped, and he put real energy into doing that and promoting it. Like, he couldn't stop talking about it. And the result, either directly or indirectly, was that building looked great nearly every game. And the truth is, right now, it doesn't. It's better than Tubby Smith, but it's not great.
No, it's not great. I think, to what I was saying, it's going to be hard for a lot of college basketball teams to fill up an NBA arena. Like, that's why most don't play in an NBA arena. Right?
That is whatever crowd Memphis had last night. I don't even know what the number would have been.
Yeah,
it's a perfectly reasonable Wednesday night
absolutely
crowd for a game against Louisiana Tech.
It's cold outside. It's Louisiana Tech. It's Wednesday night. Yeah.
The problem in this city is we've seen it be so much better.
Yes.
So you don't understand why it's not that anymore. But the truth is, it wouldn't be much better basically anywhere. At Indiana, maybe. At Kansas, maybe. At North Carolina, perhaps. Kentucky. But college basketball teams just don't, on weeknights in December against mid-majors, put 18,000 people in arenas. That's just not a normal thing.
Right.
And the truth is, eventually, and I understand why the University of Memphis uses FedEx Forum.
It's a great recruiting tool.
Well, it's just they also don't have another. Like, there's
where else are you going to play? Yeah, you can't play at the field house.
But this is too big for them. It's too big for them.
Well, I do.
Particularly when you have lost a generation of fans. I'd say this all the time, not to pile on.
No,
but you have lost a generation of fans.
That is very true. Yeah. That is very true. It is definitely flipped. And I hate pitting the two teams against each other. I hate those conversations, whatever. But back then, when, especially let's look at like 2008, for example, when the year that they went to the championship game, the Tigers were bigger than the Grizzlies in this city. Like at that time, just as far as popularity.
I can remember making this point on radio to locals, but also then making it to other people just to sort of illustrate the temperature in the city. There was a time under John Calipari where we had a prominent college basketball program and a NBA franchise. And this was a time where I was living downtown. And this is the way I made this point. If I were sitting at the Saucer, which was a pretty normal thing at the time, and I had 10th row tickets to the next Grizzlies game or 10th row tickets to the next Tigers game. And I just set them on the bar and I said, yeah, you can take whichever one you want. More people would have taken the next Tigers game than the next Grizzlies game. And that's just no longer true.
No,
when I was in high school, I would go to my grandma Jewel's house during the summers, stay with her, cut yards around her neighborhood to make however much money you could make cutting yards around a neighborhood in the mid-'90s. And I would use that money, my own money, to buy tickets to go see the Tigers.
Yep.
How many high school people are now even thinking about doing what I even just described for me?
No, and it's, they obviously have the legacy. They've been in this community for forever, right?
But that's the thing. When I was in high school, it had always mattered to everybody.
Yes.
And
the Grizzlies didn't get here till 2001.
And now it's been John Calipari left in 2009.
Yeah, and then
it's been a long time since they were operating consistently at the tip top of the sport.
Well, and then the 2010, 2011 with the Grizzlies, and that's when it just took off.
It's just changed.
And the fandom, and everybody fell in love with them, and now they're obviously massive. It's an NBA team.
When I was a kid, if you asked me about basketball players, I was talking about Ellie Perry and Penny Hardaway and Keith Lee, and Andre Turner. And now, if you ask a kid growing up in the area about basketball, they talk about John Morant and Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane. They don't really get to P.J. Haggerty and Tyrese Hunter, even though P.J. Haggerty and Tyrese Hunter have been great. But
which makes all the sense in the world,
of course,
right?
It just hadn't always been like this.
No, it hasn't.
And here's my main point, because this all sounds depressing to be talking about a team that I just moved to 12th in the top 25 and won. I wish we could delete this and just talk about all the good stuff. But
you saw it was a big point of discussion.
It was last night.
Yeah.
The problem becomes, because what you would see from some people would be like, hey, well, it's just Louisiana Tech. That's what some people say. What do you want for Louisiana Tech? Which is a reasonable point, I guess. The problem is
you play 1 million Louisiana Techs this year.
Worse.
Yeah.
Most of your league is worse than Louisiana Tech.
Right.
I mean, that's not even hyperbole. Most of your league, most of the teams you're going to play once conference schedule starts in your building are worse than Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
So it's fine to say, what do you want us to do? how many people you want us to get for Louisiana Tech. What I'm telling you is if you can't get people for Louisiana Tech, you can't get people for UTSA, Tulsa, Rice, East Carolina, on down the line.
I get that. One thing, I feel like that the calendar every year, this isn't the first time we've had a conversation like this. You typically, like post Super Bowl, once football season's over, the basketball crowds always get better, right? Like they just do. I mean, that's what's on now. Like that's what people are invested in. There's no more football. You know that's what
I can tell you annually.
Yeah,
you know, you get. I think every sports radio producer in the country's got my number at this point somehow.
Yeah. And then they start blowing you up. Like February hits and you're getting blown up.
Ain't nobody bothered me this week.
Right.
Except for CBS Sports HQ and regular hits that I do. Ain't nobody bothered me today. As soon as the Super Bowl's over, I'm getting hit up every day. Mm-hmm. Hey, you got a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Hey, could you go? Undeniably, when football's over, more people start paying attention to basketball. I think at all levels of basketball. But on an otherwise great night inside FedEx Forum, where the Tigers were able to avoid an upset, improve to 7-1, and move up in, for whatever it's worth, the top 25 and 1 at CBS Sports. That was the other side of it, is that you've got, and given that we just went through it with football, I think is why it is an important conversation.
Yeah.
We got a quality football team, and we got a quality basketball team. And the attendance figures don't match. Forget what they should be, because maybe we're just all out of whack about what it should be. Mm-hmm. But they don't match what they used to be.
Completely agree. Now, we might not even, luckily, and obviously all credit to Penny Hardaway for scheduling this awesome non-conference schedule in the athletic department, because, the 2 out of the next 3 home games are a good Mississippi State team and a good Ole Miss team. So that you would expect good crowds for those, right?
Yeah.
They'll bring their fans, you'll bring extra fans. Those are big games.
Well, for sure. And let's just go through the schedule here. With Arkansas State, they'll bring a little bit, and Brian is running a good program over there. But that'll be what it is. But then you're at Clemson, at Virginia, and if you can maintain this, and it doesn't necessarily mean go from 7-1 to 10-1. But can you be 9-2 heading into the Mississippi State game at home? Because then you've got back-to-back Saturdays, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And there is
yeah, that's good stuff.
Well, it's not just Mississippi State and Ole Miss, which are regional rivals, SEC schools. Universities with alums in the area. We live in the Memphis area. Me personally, my neighbors, they're Ole Miss fans and Mississippi State fans. They're Ole Miss grads and Mississippi State grads. So you'll be able to draw all that. And they'll have, as long as they don't mess up between now and then, they'll have numbers next to the name. Mm-hmm. Like Ole Miss is ranked in Mississippi State. Just as of this morning, I've got Ole Miss at number 15 in the top 25 and 1, and Mississippi State at number 20. So if you can just 10-1 would be great heading into that. 9-2 is reasonable. You would still be ranked at 9-2. If Ole Miss and Mississippi State are both still ranked, then you've got back-to-back Saturdays with regional SEC schools coming in top 25 matchups.
Yeah.
That's great. That's where the crowds start to look different. And if you perform, make it enjoyable when folks all come into the building for those Saturdays, well, then guess what? People want to come back.
And I would hope, too, that, for instance, this Saturday they're playing, whatever, not a good Arkansas State
Sunday.
team. It's Sunday. Okay, but it's a 3 o'clock game.
Right.
Like those, you expect to get good crowds because families come, bring the kids. It's an afternoon game. That's the one you want to see good attendance, right?
I guess the problem becomes there you're dealing with NFL fans and fantasy football and all that stuff. But I guess
whatever.
At some point you can always come up with a reason not to go.
You can always come up with a reason not to go. Like last night, I can understand the low attendance.
Yeah.
If they have a bad crowd on Saturday, I'll kind of be like, I wonder why. Because that's a great opportunity to bring the family. And again, it's affordable.
This is another factor, and then we'll move on because I feel like we're talking about too much stuff that is beside the point.
I got it.
But when you are actually, let's say you're holding tickets, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're considering going. This is another deal. all right, we're going to go see Memphis, Louisiana Tech on Wednesday night. Well, then we got Grizz-Kings tickets on Thursday night. We're really going to go downtown 2 nights in a row? Like, it's hard for families to do.
Well, okay. Give your tickets away.
Bennett says give your tickets away.
Yeah,
then.
that's a big thing too. Is
if you're not going to use them, hand them to somebody.
Somebody wants those. Yes,
somebody will always want to go. So if you've got tickets and you can't figure it out, hand them off.
Yes,
I'm with you, Bennett.
Like my dad's a season ticket holder, and I always, I'm always asking, hey, you using the tickets? You using the tickets? Because like I can always find people that want to go, right? That's for Grizzlies. But
Bennett, you're doing your part.
Same thing, yeah.
I think you're doing your part.
Use your tickets.
Bennett says Bennett's doing his part. He says use your tickets. I agree with him. The Tigers are 7-1, 12th in the top 25-1, and hopefully big crowds on the way.
Number 2.
Not everybody was so fortunate to avoid losses last night. Number 1, Kansas couldn't do it. They lost at Creighton. Number 2, Auburn couldn't do it. They lost at Duke.
I took Auburn, didn't I?
I think you did.
I did. I took Auburn. Crap. That just occurred to me.
You're not trusting buildings. I've been trying to
You got to trust the building in college basketball.
In college basketball, you got to trust buildings.
You got to trust the building. That's a good point.
It was evident all over the country last night. In Omaha, Creighton's building came through for the Blue Jays, the Creighton BJs. At Duke, Cameron Indoor came through. Down at Mississippi State, the Hump came through.
The Hump?
Isn't that Humphrey Coliseum?
That what they call that thing?
Unless they
I have no clue. I have no idea.
Unless they change it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know. Where does Ole Miss play in? I just call it the Tad Pad, but that's something different now.
The Tad Pad has been retired.
Okay.
It's the Pavilion.
It's the Pavilion. Okay.
Ole Miss plays in the Pavilion. Beautiful.
That's what they say.
And that is the way every arena for college basketball teams should be built going forward. Like 9,000 or lower.
Yeah, I agree with that.
9,000 or lower. Baylor did one. Texas did one. Those are the best college basketball arenas. Make them smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So the buildings were getting work done. Buildings were standing on business last night all over the country.
Yeah, it appears that way.
At Iowa State, another building making an impact, Hilton Coliseum. So the question becomes, all right, who's number 1 now? Because we don't often see number 1 and number 2 lose on the same day, although it did happen last January, but it's not a normal thing. So as somebody stupid enough to wake up every day and rank 26 basketball teams, you got a real issue on your hands here.
Yeah.
Because nothing is obvious. Sometimes number 1 loses, number 2 wins. That's easy. Just move number 2 up to number 1 and call it a day.
Yep.
But when you get stuff like what happened last night, it's a little more complicated. So let me walk you through it, and let me see if you accept my rationale for where I landed. So Kansas is number 1. And Kansas was number 1 as of yesterday morning, not because the Jayhawks had the best resume in the sport, because I think Auburn did as of yesterday morning. But I had Kansas number 1 since April, and Kansas was undefeated, and Kansas had big wins. Had a Duke win, had a North Carolina win, had a Michigan State win. So I just said, until Kansas, my preseason number 1 loses, I'm keeping them number 1. Well, they lost. So now they neither are still undefeated, nor do they have the best resume in the country. So you can't keep Kansas number 1. So you move down the list. There's Auburn. Okay. No shame in losing at Duke. Auburn was actually a 3.5-point underdog in the game and led for some of the game and was in it till the final minute. So are we sure Auburn still doesn't have the best resume in the country, even with the loss? I think you can make a reasonable case that they do. Problem becomes, I've been doing this long enough to know, if you take a team that was number 2 immediately after a loss and move them to number 1, even if you can explain it in great detail, people don't take the time.
They don't want to hear that crap.
They don't even take the time to hear that crap. They just call you an idiot over and over again. Did you not watch the game last night? Somebody didn't see Auburn lose last night. So non-starter.
Yeah.
Can't move Auburn up to number 1. But I kept Auburn at number 2. I'm not going to punish them for a loss at Duke. So then after that, you got number 3, Iowa State, as of yesterday morning. Iowa State, massive win last night against Marquette inside Hilton Coliseum. Problem becomes, Iowa State is a one-loss team, just like Auburn's a one-loss team. And you know who Iowa State's one loss is to? Auburn. Can I make sense of, if Auburn's got better wins than Iowa State, and a win over Iowa State and the same number of losses and arguably a better loss considering your loss is at Duke and their loss to you is on a neutral, how can I reasonably move Iowa State ahead of Auburn just because Auburn happened to lose last night and Iowa State happened to win last night? So that doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
So I just keep Iowa State at number 3. Now you get to Marquette at number 4 as of yesterday morning. Well, they just lost to Iowa State.
Yep.
You can't move them above Iowa State. Can't take them all the way up to number 1. So now you go down to number 5, and guess who that is? It's your Tennessee Vols. Tennessee Vols are 8-0 right now.
I noticed.
They've won all 8 games by at least 15 points. They have wins over Baylor and Virginia and Louisville. They don't have the best wins in the country, but they got the most overwhelming victories in the country. They're beating everybody's brains in. And if you were looking for right now a team to move to number 1 that was already in the range, that has a 0 in the loss column, and that has strong computer numbers, Tennessee right now number 2 at KenPom, the Vols are the best example of that. So Tennessee is your new number 1 in the top 25-1. They got a few interesting games coming up. Miami on Tuesday on a neutral court. Then they go to Illinois, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And that'll obviously be challenging. Illinois also a ranked team right now. But Rick Barnes and the Tennessee Vols, I'm not sure if I've ever moved them to number 1 in the top 25-1. I know I did with Bruce Pearl's Tennessee Vols when they beat Memphis in 2008 here inside FedEx Forum. I'm not sure if I've ever had Rick Barnes' Tennessee Vols number 1 in the top 25-1, but they are as of this morning. He's got a good basketball team. They lost Dalton Connect, but they went back into the transfer portal and added a young guy named Chaz Lanier, just another mid-major scorer. And I'm not telling you he's Dalton Connect, but he's putting up similar numbers and really performing at a high level so far this season. The Vols look good. That's a school that has had a lot of basketball success on the men's side. Obviously the women's side as well, more so. But on the men's side, had some success. Been ranked number 1 in the country, all these things. Never been to a Final Four. Never. Could do it this year. I don't know if I'm predicting it, but
Barnes has with Texas, right? Yeah.
Rick went to one Final Four. I think it was 2003 when he had TJ Ford.
I remember TJ Ford. Wow.
Funny story. So that was my first Final Four that I ever attended. It was down in New Orleans. It's the year Carmelo Anthony and Syracuse won the national championship. That was my first full year on the Memphis beat. The first game of the season was at the Garden, Memphis against Syracuse. This was my first season on the Memphis beat. First game I covered that year, Memphis Syracuse at the Garden.
That's awesome.
Memphis beats Syracuse. Last game I covered that season, Syracuse, Kansas in the title game. Carmelo Anthony and the Orange win the national championship. So in the national semifinals, I don't remember the details. I just remember that late on that Saturday night after the national semifinals, me and Brett McMurphy decided to go to the casino.
Okay.
In New Orleans, like the Big Harris Casino right there in downtown New Orleans.
Yeah.
And, at the casino,
I've been there a million times.
Oh, buddy, we all have. And so you're just sitting at a blackjack table, and you don't know who you sit next to, but a lot of basketball fans there for the Final Four. And a fella had on he was a Texas fan. He traveled to the Final Four, and his team just lost in the semifinals. And so he was drowning himself. And
sure.
And,
that's what you do.
He didn't know who we were at all, but we just started talking basketball. And at some point, Brett's like, I just, Brett was trying to console him. And he was like, hey, man, I know it didn't go the way you wanted it to go tonight, but great season, man. Fun season. And T. Ford was wonderful all year. And the guy would be like, yeah, man, I know, but whatever. Tonight was kind of a bummer. And Brett just kept saying, T. Ford was great. T. Ford was wonderful. And the guy finally stops. He's like, it's T.J. Ford. And Brett was like, nah, he didn't have a J. And the guy wanted to fight him. Brett was setting the whole thing up just to say TJ Ford can't shoot. He was calling him T Ford, and when the guy said, no, it's TJ Ford, he said, no, he doesn't have a J.
Yeah, he's like, Brett, I could tell he's like that too. I could tell by how he acts on Twitter and stuff that Brett's like that.
And it was like, and the guy was like, it wasn't, I'm exaggerating. It wasn't, we weren't about to fight, but it got uncomfortable. The guy took offense.
Of course he did.
He did not like that joke.
Yeah, he flew to freaking New Orleans for the Final Four in his Texas gear. Yeah, he's going to take offense.
Later on, I went on to work with TJ4. We worked together, CBS Sports.
Nice.
He's nice. Like, genuinely nice dude. Really good dude. Sorry, his Final Four appearance didn't go better.
Yeah.
But that is Rick Barnes' Final Four. He took TJ Ford and the Longhorns there. Might be going back this year. Tennessee, number 1, top 25 and 1.
Number 3.
Can I interest you, Bennett? Can I interest you in the Frisco Bowl?
Sure.
You like Scooter's coffee?
I've never had it.
I've never had it
There
either.
is one that I drive
sometimes.
past all the time. Yeah, there's one in Midtown that I drive past all the time.
You know what I do sometimes when I leave here?
Yeah.
I'll go, man, I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, I don't really know what I want, but I'm just going to like drive down Poplar.
Yeah.
Until I
find something. Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I'm at Perkins. I don't even know what I never find what I'm looking for.
Perkins is underrated.
Poplar and Perkins to get some stuff done.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
thought you meant Perkins the restaurant.
Oh, no.
You mean Perkins the street. I think Perkins the restaurant's underrated.
Also great.
Yeah,
I'm not anti-Perkins.
Right.
I mean that I just drive and I never see whatever it is I was hoping to see. I just keep driving.
I get that.
Next thing you know, I've just been driving for 20 minutes east on Poplar, and I'm still hungry.
Yeah, JB says Scooter's coffee's good. Let me know in the chat because I've never had Scooter's.
I've never had it,
Yeah.
but my point was, as I'm making, I think that drive on I see it sometimes somewhere, but it's never occurred to me to stop.
Yeah, it's like a drive-through coffee place, right?
How do you feel about that drive-through coffee?
Great.
You love it?
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, see, that's the journalist in you. Like you want to go, pull your laptop out and set up shop in the coffee shop.
No. That's not what I mean. I mean, I get agitated like when my wife says, "Can we drive through Starbucks?" Because I can't make sense of sitting in a line for 15 minutes to get a cup of coffee.
Oh, I absolutely can. It's a nice little treat, and you get a buzz. Like it's the perfect drive-through.
But 15 minutes of just sitting there to get a cup of coffee seems crazy. Where else would you sit for 15? If I were standing at a bar and ordered a vodka drink and it took them 15 minutes to give it to me, I'd be like, this ain't even worth it. But people do it at Starbucks every day, and I don't understand.
Yeah, because it's like, again, like the caffeine, especially if you love caffeine, like me. You once you get it and you're driving around listening to whatever you want to, having your little treat, like there ain't nothing like it. I love that. I love that feeling. I love that feeling.
That's your favorite feeling.
I love that feeling.
Bennett's favorite feeling is waiting 15 minutes for coffee.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Mm-hmm. I would have thought you had other feelings that you preferred, but I guess that's one.
No, that's a good one.
It is. I just don't understand it. I can't do it. I cannot. I enjoy Starbucks, but I can't sit in a drive-thru for 15 minutes just to get a drink.
Yeah,
that seems crazy.
you got to find the right Starbucks because some of them do take a long time.
I know.
I got my own personal Starbucks that I F with, and then there's some that's like I will never go to that one again.
Let's.
No, I don't want to disclose it. I don't want to do that.
How do you feel about our local Starbucks right across the street?
Oh, I love that one. That's
they're nice
quick.
people in there.
They're nice over there, quick and easy. Now there's no drive-through, so it's
now
just like
you
walk in and out. It's right across the street. But the drive-throughs, there is one in my area that I will never go to. Ever. They take 20 minutes. And there are 2 cars in line.
It is interesting how drive-thrus are amazing some places and horrific other places.
Horrific at others.
For instance, if I see, and I'm not trying to disparage anything, but if I want a good Popeye spicy chicken sandwich, but there's 5 cars at Popeyes, forget about it, buddy.
Forget it.
No.
You're waiting 30 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You'll be there till tomorrow.
Yes.
They'll catch that New York killer before you'll get your spicy chicken.
So
all right?
true.
All right?
It's so true.
But if I see 6 cars at Chick-fil-A, I ain't even blinking.
God,
I'm not even blinking.
No, I'll be there. Yeah.
I told you the story before, I think. But
I think McDonald's. So McDonald's is pretty quick. Most McDonald's are pretty quick.
I got a buddy. Our kids play together, go to school together and stuff.
Yeah.
They own Chick-fil-A's.
Gotcha.
Right? And they own a few of them. And I was sort of just at dinner one night picking his brain. And I was like, yo, man, I'm not asking for any secrets. I don't need to know all your Chick-fil-A secrets. But why is your drive-thru great and say other drive-thrus aren't? If you're comfortable discussing that, let's talk about it. Because I might need to tell Bennett someday. And he said, we care. That's it. That's all you have to do. You have to care. So we spend money. we invest in our drive-thru. You go to most drive-thrus, and there's like one person on a microphone. That's the drive-thru. At Chick-fil-A, they got people outside. They got people here, one other person up here. Everybody's carrying around iPads.
I went this morning.
It's wonderful.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're so good at it.
Yeah, and he says,
and they're nice to me.
They're nice. They're like they seem happy to be there, as opposed to the alternative. And so he said we'd spend money on it. But here's the thing: most companies don't want to spend money, don't want to invest in something because it's like you can't spend this much money on the drive-thru. But what they have learned is exactly what I'm talking about. People are now conditioned to not be turned off by seeing lines at Chick-fil-A because they'll get you through.
That's right.
So you'll get in that line. So think about this. You see a different drive-thru with 6 cars, you won't even go there. That's costing you money. But at Chick-fil-A, you see 6 cars, and you'll still get in that line.
Matter.
You're making money. So invest in the great drive-thru, and you get a full drive-thru. I was going to say 7 days a week, but that's not true for Chick-fil-A, but it's 6.
Yeah.
It's 6. Anyway, the Frisco Bowl's coming up.
Yes.
How you feel about that?
Listen, I'm glad we get to play a Power 5 school.
Barely. Barely.
Barely. I just think that it's kind of and I don't know how does this do the schools like choose? How does this work?
The schools have input.
Yeah, because my first thought was this is super disrespectful to Memphis, but they obviously have to want to go there.
What I gather is Memphis preferred this.
I got you.
For I guess there's a couple of different reasons. One, it's I know Frisco, Texas sounds like a place you don't know. It's suburban Dallas.
Yeah, I got it.
You're going to Dallas, all right? Seth Hennigan's final game in a Tiger uniform. Be in Texas.
Oh, he's from Texas. Yeah, he's from Texas. That's pretty cool.
I don't even think that was the motivating factor. It might have been considered, but that is something.
Yeah.
Other thing, when the game's played? December 17th.
So before Christmas, before the
Let's
holidays.
get this over with.
Yeah, I got it. I would have, again, this school's in the college football playoff rankings. I think they deserve better than, we've made a lot about the season and the schedule and all that. I still think they deserve better than a 6-6 West Virginia team that just fired their coach. I even just looking at that, what's Colorado going to be doing? I look just looking specifically at the Big 12, there are other schools ahead of West Virginia that I would have much rather played.
Well, this is the point I was trying to make earlier in the week. While acknowledging the big win over Tulane, while reminding you that I didn't think it really changed things much. It gets you 10 wins instead of 9, but it didn't change things much. If you don't lose the 2 regular season games you lose, then you go win at Tulane, you're playing for a conference championship and perhaps for the opportunity to represent the group of 5 in the college football playoff. Under those circumstances, it would have changed everything. Under those circumstances, that win at Tulane would have been one of the biggest victories in the history of the University of Memphis program if the 2 losses didn't precede it. But given that the 2 losses preceded it and there was no hope of going to the conference championship game and by extension no hope of going to the college football playoff, what I was trying to tell you on Monday is, great win. But the only thing it changes is a Wikipedia page. The only thing it changes is Ryan Silverfield will head to a bowl game with 10 wins instead of 9. That Ryan Silverfield now has a chance to get 11 wins instead of 10. But it doesn't really change anything other than the obvious. It gets you in the national rankings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But here's your bowl game. Here, congratulations on your 10-2 season, being ranked in the AP poll coaches. Here's your bowl game. You get to play 6-6 West Virginia that just fired his coach.
Yeah.
Not exciting because you don't get credit for this. You can go beat them by 300 or 300, and nobody's going to be like, man, did you see what Memphis did to West Virginia?
Because they'll just say, well, they didn't want to be there. That's what they'll say.
Well, the first thing they'll say is they sucked so much so that they fired their coach, but then also they didn't want to be there, and I think probably they're going to be important people who aren't there. So you're not going to get credit for this. If you lose, people will use it to discredit everything else you did during the season. And if you win, they'll just say, well, you beat a team that fired its coach. So it's not great from that perspective. But if you are A, trying to get to 11 wins, B, trying to add a victory over a Power 4 conference member, and C, and I think C might be the most important thing, get this over with quickly so that you can start focusing on next season and rebuilding the roster, and also like just be at home for Christmas.
No, that's a good point.
And not be practicing and preparing for a bowl game in advance of Christmas.
Yeah.
Get it done. They're going to play it on December 17th.
That's cool. I just would have rather played like a team that's a good team.
I agree. But here's where I'm at.
Again, like just specifically to like the Big 12, like I'm looking at like Kansas State, Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor, like all those teams had 8 wins. I think any of those opponents would have gotten you a little more excited than this West Virginia team that's not good. Like,
sure.
Yeah.
There is other things that could have gotten you more exciting, and there are other locations that would have been perhaps preferable destinations. Certainly we could have found warmer ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a bowl game in Boca Raton.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of at the point with this stuff. You're either in the college football playoff or you're not. And I don't really care if you're not. It's the NIT.
Well, when it goes to 16, it's even more so, right?
Well, it's just even now. Like,
okay,
you're frustrated that they're in the Frisco Bowl. I hear you. You want to put them in the Birmingham Bowl? Where do you want them? Who cares either way?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same. It's all a bunch of stuff that doesn't really matter to the grand scheme of things. Like, I recognize if Memphis ever misses the NCAA tournament and wants to play in the NIT, there's more interesting matchups than other less interesting matchups. You know, you might want to play a regional rival or an SEC school or something like that as opposed to a mid-major whatever. But at the end of the day, it's an NIT game, whatever. Who cares? And that's the way I sort of am with this stuff. If you're not in the college football playoff, you're just playing a game that's not taking you anywhere. It's a postseason game, and you'll get a trophy, and you know you can celebrate it accordingly. But it's just a game that if you win it, you go nowhere, and if you lose it, you go nowhere, and it's not going to have much impact on your season. Whatever good or great things were going to happen with your season, they had to happen already, and that they did happen a lot, but not enough is how you end up in this situation. So it's the Frisco Bowl, December 17th. That's on a Tuesday. If you're a Tiger fan heading down, I hope you have a good time.
Number 4.
Interesting report from Jeff Passan last night, MLB insider. He's on record now, Bennett. He says the winter meetings start next week in Dallas. Does Dallas get everything? The Tigers and the winter meetings?
I guess so.
Boy, I hope
Dallas is popping off.
I hope they know how lucky they are. They get the Tigers and the winter meetings. Jeff Passan said winter meetings start Monday in Dallas, and he believes, based on information from sources, that Juan Soto will make a decision on where he's going to play baseball next season and for many years to come before that. So today's Thursday. According to Jeff Passan, we should have a Juan Soto decision today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, or early Monday. Do you care? I'm obviously invested in this. Do you care in the sense that you might be able to get him out of the AL East? Does that matter to you?
Sure.
Like if I could get you Luka out of the Western Conference, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I might be able to get you Juan Soto out of the AL East.
Yeah. That would help. That would help. I just always look at the Yankees. Like I'm like they'll reload. Like they'll be fine. Yeah, that's not gonna last.
I'm just still skeptical that he's actually gonna walk away from the Yankees.
I don't think he's going to either. I think he's gonna be a Yankee. I do.
Like I was in the studio last week up in New York, and there's a lot of Yankees fans I work with. Like people work at SNY and then also work with us at CBS Sports Network. So you're surrounded by Yankees fans, and my understanding from Yankees fans is they want to keep him. Mm-hmm. But there is a price point where you just go, yo, man, if you guys want to be crazy and give him $700 million, give him $700 million. But we ain't doing that. Yankees fans seem to think there is a price point where if the Mets want to overpay, let them. Mm-hmm. But you're still asking Juan Soto to walk away from the New York Yankees after winning the American League pennant. And he's got Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton in a lineup with them. So, yeah, you might can get more money from the Mets than the Yankees. But who walks away from the Yankees? Like, it's because, like, think about how leaving the New York Yankees for the New York Mets voluntarily after an incredible season is kind of a wild thing. And I'm hopeful, but I'm skeptical he's going to pull the trigger on that. My guess is that he re-signs with the Yankees for a lot of money.
Yes.
But slightly less money than the Mets were willing to give him.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. He's going to be a Yankee. Yeah.
I just like I like that Passan put a number on it.
I do too.
Like
we got a date.
We don't have to wonder because like NBA free agency's interesting in that like it's July and everything's popping off and it's like boom, 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 boom. And MLB free agents, it's just like you don't even know when it starts. And there's somebody can sign in December or January or February or July. It doesn't matter. You can just sign whenever you want to sign. So there's no like when NBA free agency pops off, it's like Woj in a previous life and Shams, and they're like on TV every day, and it's boom, 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 boom. When is this stuff going to happen? And Major League Baseball just doesn't work.
It does feel like that they should put like a hard deadline on it.
To drive.
We care about this stuff so much. Right. Yes, we love free agency.
The NBA.
With NFL trade deadline, yes. NBA free agency, like we love
NBA
that
free
stuff.
Agency is a million times bigger than the NBA.
Yes.
People, because you hear people television ratings, all that stuff with the NBA. Here's where I'm at on the NBA. This appears to be true on some level.
Yeah.
People love to follow the NBA. They don't like watching the games. They love to follow the NBA, but they don't like watching the games, not the regular season games, for whatever reason.
Well, that's another huge discussion. I don't know if we want to open that can of worms.
Well, I'm just telling you, if I told most NBA fans, NBA free agency starts in 30 minutes and you can watch it for the next 2 hours, or you can watch this game.
Yeah.
They want to watch free agency. The NBA is interesting in that its stars are stars. People are interested in the idea of the NBA. We're talking about LeBron and Bronny and all. We talk about this stuff all the time in ways we don't talk about baseball, and we don't talk about the NHL. But then the games come on, and at least the television ratings nationally suggest people ain't there for it the way you would think.
I think that, I think some of that has to do with access. Like the free agency stuff, you can just watch that on ESPN.
That's fair. That's fair.
Right.
But like my point is, the games you could just watch them on ESPN too, and more people seem interested in watching Woj or Shams or anybody else speculate on where somebody else might play, as opposed to like let's just sit down and watch a basketball game. Either way, I do think, to your point, MLB would benefit from like creating a window and having a build-up and having Passan on TV all day for a period of time talking about all this stuff. You could maybe manufacture some of that interest that the NBA has really capitalized on, but that's a baseball problem. I'll let them figure it out. Juan Soto decision coming soon. That's really all I wanted to tell you.
Number 5.
We got a wild story.
Buckle up.
We got a wild story, buddy. Brian Thompson, United Healthcare CEO, was in Midtown Manhattan yesterday morning. Walk into a convention on 6th Ave between 53rd and 54th. You've seen the video.
I've seen it 100 times.
I've seen it 150. Undeniably pre-planned. Pop, pop, pop. Killed him on the streets of New York.
Yep.
Buddy, you don't know, like, you know where this was? It was 54th. It was 54th Street in Midtown Manhattan. Do you know where I stay? Every time I go to Manhattan. 54th.
Damn.
I'm on the same street. Like, think about the front door of FedEx Forum. And if I told you to walk to the Westin, that's about how far. A little more maybe. But that's about how far it happened from my hotel. I walk past that every day. That same scene. Not every day. That's an exaggeration. A lot. That's right there. You go and try to find a Scooter's Coffee, you might just be walking right there. Shot him. Killed him. And they still haven't found the guy.
No, they haven't found the guy. Now, there's new pictures of him.
Yeah. He's about to get caught.
And it's like his face.
Yeah, That's why
he's smiling.
So let me ask you this.
Yep.
Okay, so the latest, I believe, is they've realized that he was staying in a hostel.
Okay.
Above Central Park, it sounds like. And in that hostel, he mostly wore mask, but they do have an image of him without a mask. And there's also the image of him inside Starbucks yesterday where they've got his eyes. And this is where I don't know nothing about this. But immediately, because the video looked so calm, it just looked like this guy's just walking down the street. And then a guy in a mask with a gun and a silencer waits for him to pass and just calmly walks right behind him.
Yep.
And then the gun
jams. He unjams it, shoots him again.
He clearly knew what he was doing.
Yes.
He knew how to handle that gun. So people were immediately like, this is a trained killer. But would a trained killer really be in Starbucks with his eyes exposed like that? Trained killers know better than that.
I think so.
Do you know when I go to the airport, not in Memphis because we don't have clear here yet, but like at LaGuardia, I don't even need my license. Do you know how they know who I am? My eyes.
Wow. Okay.
I walk up there and
look at the thing.
They say, do you want to do a fingerprint or your eyes? I say, do my eyes. And I go, and then my picture pops up. They know who I am because of my eyes. If that guy's ever gone through an airport,
they got him.
Or Madison Square Garden, facial recognition technology is everywhere in this country. You don't even know everywhere it's at. But our faces are recognizable. Do you know if I walk into Madison Square Garden tonight, if I just walk through the front doors, they will know I'm there?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yes. They have that technology.
Big Brother's watching.
Yes. No, for real.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, would a trained killer really let his eyes get exposed at Starbucks like that? I'm skeptical.
I mean, but there was messages on the bullets, GP.
Oh, I know.
There were words on the bullets.
Oh, here's what I'm guessing right now. Not a trained killer, but a trained marksman.
Maybe so, yeah.
Very comfortable with a weapon, and somebody who really wanted this guy dead.
Yeah, I saw the latest that TMZ had that there were, after he was killed, that there was like bomb threats to his homes. Now that could just be.
Well, the wife has said that he was dealing with threats.
Yeah.
That there had been threats made. As the CEO of the largest private health insurance company in the country. I mean, you are in control. When you were that guy, and this guy's Brian Thompson, like we didn't. This guy probably played a role in more people's lives than most Americans, right?
Yes.
And the wife is now on the record saying that he had been getting threats. Because just think about this. You got $400,000 in medical bills. And this guy's company says, yeah, we can't help you with that.
Right.
This guy has the power. I don't know anything about him other than what I've read in the past 24 hours. But on some level, he had the power to either alleviate people's biggest problems or make them suffocate in them.
Yeah, it's so like,
and you can easily see how that might set somebody down a terrible path.
Oh yeah, I mean this whole thing is obviously opened up like a big discussion about how people feel about healthcare in this country, right? Because like, look, dude, if you just go do a quick search of this thing and read comments, there's not as much sympathy out there as you would think, right? Like
there are families all over this country, perhaps ones that you and I know, that have had their lives turned upside down by medical bills. Too many Americans, because the healthcare industry in our country is awful.
Yes.
We are lucky as employees of an NBA franchise where we have good healthcare.
Yeah.
But it is a real stain on our country.
Yes.
That too many sick people can't go to the doctor.
Right.
Thank God for Church Health here.
Yes.
In Memphis, because we have an affordable solution to a major problem. But people die every day in this country who are sick and can't afford to go to the doctor. My wife's aunt, who was a big, important person in our life, helping us with our children, particularly when I was on the road. And she was self-employed, didn't have traditional insurance. And I just remember in like the last year of her life, she was always coming down to our house and helping out. When I was out of town, she would stay.
Yeah.
She wouldn't stay the night often, but she lived out in Bartlett. She would drive all the way down to our home and just cook dinner and help. And then she'd go home and she was like a really special person to us. And at some point, she just stopped coming. And she was harder to get in touch with. and we didn't know what was going on, but you don't ever want to pry, but you
Yeah, you don't want to be pushy.
She got real sick.
Yeah.
She couldn't go to the doctor, or she didn't think she could go to the doctor. And by the time she was comfortable enough to admit to us that she wasn't feeling well and that she was really losing weight and all this stuff, and obviously I was very familiar with Church Health, and I knew that would be an option. And so we set all that up, and she got incredible treatment, but it was too late.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late. And that happens every day in this country to people. You die earlier than you should have because you couldn't afford to go to the doctor, or you can afford to go to the doctor. You've worked your whole life saving up money, 401k and savings account. You've got wealth that, in theory, you'll be able to leave to your children, and they can have a head start in it. And you spend. So many Americans spend their whole life saving money and then spend it all dying.
It's all gone just like that.
You spend it all dying.
Yep.
That doesn't happen in every other country in the world. It happens here. So the healthcare industry, you can see how people would turn on it. I don't know what the story is here. I'm assuming we'll find out. But there are countless families in this country who everything was going okay. And then mom got sick or dad got sick, and now the bills are overwhelming. Can't work, can't get an insurance company, cover this, pre-existing condition, whatever. And you're underwater in a way you couldn't have ever imagined. And that type of stuff could lead to somebody really
snapping,
going to a place where even they didn't think they would go. I was texting last night. I got a buddy who works in insurance like this. You know what he said? He never denies a claim face-to-face. Never. If you're sitting face-to-face with him, even if he knows this claim's going to get denied, he says, well, let us keep looking at it. We'll call you.
Yeah.
He said literally never will decline it because you don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, you don't know how someone's going to react to
Somebody
that news.
needs you to say, this $400,000 medical bill, we got it covered. You're okay. We got this. And when you don't tell them that, when you say the opposite, this is on you, buddy. We can't do nothing with you.
Yeah, you don't know how someone's going to react.
The words on the bullets were, I think, telling that certainly highlights the idea that this was premeditated and targeted and horrific. It's just a wild thing to see.
Yeah, it was.
That's if you're not familiar with New York City, that is not in the Bronx. That's not that's not in Queens. That is Midtown Manhattan. That is where, when people like me travel to New York, that's where we stay. That's why he was there. He's the CEO of United Healthcare. He was in Midtown Manhattan. That's where CEOs are, Midtown Manhattan. This was a very busy, this is right in the middle of the city, man. This would be like this happening at like Poplar and Highland.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right in the middle of it. Just a scary, scary thing. Mary's got 2 kids.
Yeah, it is. That is sad.
I couldn't stop thinking about those kids.
Yeah.
It's one thing you lose your dad. That's trauma.
But
you lose your dad to a murder.
Of him getting murdered, yeah.
Whole world just watched your dad get murdered. If they hadn't seen that, it will be impossible for them not to.
Right. Yeah, it's a wild story. Be careful on the For You tab, by the way.
I saw a little bit of it.
Buddy.
I couldn't.
Buddy.
I couldn't.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is getting wild.
Oh, yeah.
It is getting wild there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what the story is, but I'm going to, if I can place a bet right now, here's what I'm going to place a bet on. Trained marksman, very familiar with guns, very comfortable with guns, not a trained killer.
Okay.
I don't think trained killers leave their eyes exposed like that in a Starbucks.
I don't think so either. I think you're right.
But I'm willing to keep an open mind.
Okay.
I'm willing to keep an open mind. We'll see where it goes. I bet we got more answers by this time tomorrow.
Yes.
If so, I'll share them with you.
Good.
If so, I'll share them with you. Be back with GP's Carryout.
Grizzlies are just having fun out there tonight. Morant around a screen. Bumped by Wagner. No look to Smart. Lays it up on the window and in. And it is all Grizz. The Grizzlies have the fans on their feet at FedEx Forum.
Who will lead lead the Grizz in steals this season?
I'm going to go with Pippen for steals this season.
So I'm going to go with Jaren.
I'm going to go, as long as he's in the rotation, I'm going to go Jake LaRavia for total steals, and I'll have Marcus Smart in my back pocket for steals per game.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizz-Beat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Look at that. We got the whole Grizzlies team just infiltrated our studio. Santi Aldama's in the house. Look at everybody. A whole Grizzlies team. Look at Zach Edey's in the house. John Morant's in the house. Say hello. Say hello.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. I should also point out there's reports that there was a cell phone found in the alley, also a water bottle that they think perhaps the shooter, the killer, dropped. Do professional killers drop cell phones?
No. Well, it could be a burner.
Could be a burner. I don't know. And also, how did he get the electric bike? You know, those are all over the city, but you have to, you scan a card or something. Like, how did he just go get a
Visa gift card?
Okay, Bennett.
Yeah.
Okay, Bennett. You sound like you've thought about this before.
I'm just saying, I've seen a lot of movies.
It was wild the way he was just. You and I watch a lot of killings.
Yes.
Every day. And most time people shoot and then there's it's very frantic.
Yes.
People are running around, they don't know what to do. This dude was the calmest dude in the world. He just all right, I'm going to walk over here. All right, I'm going to go through this alley. I'm going to get me a bike. I'm going to take off through Central Park, and I'll never see you again. But they're going to get him.
I think they're going to get him.
By this time tomorrow, they got him? Yes or no? I say yes.
I say yes because of the picture with the face exposed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can't expose your face like that.
You can't expose your face like that. I'm looking at it right now. You can, they'll find this guy.
Yeah, he's, okay. When they find him, dead or alive. Sometimes these things it turns into a murder-suicide. Let's talk about murder-suicides for a minute before we get out of here.
I wonder if this guy's got a story to tell.
Oh, I bet he does.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story to tell, Bennett.
I'm wondering, I think alive.
I think dead.
No, I think this guy's got a story to tell.
They're going to take him alive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You look at the picture, I'm just speculating here. He's very happy. You see the picture, he got a big old smile on his face. He seems very happy.
He had a purpose.
He seems content with his actions.
He had a purpose.
Yeah. I think he's got a story to tell.
Bennett, what a wild deal.
It's wild, man.
What a wild situation.
Yeah.
Let's do GP's carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
A whole bunch of stuff, but we mostly focus in that opening segment on tonight's game inside FedEx Forum. Grizzlies-Kings, 7 o'clock tip. Tickets available, Ticketmaster.com. StubHub right now.
What's up?
You can get in to the building for just $8.
Oh, wow.
If you ever wanted to see DeMontis Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox and DeMar DeRozan lose to the Memphis Grizzlies. Tonight you can do that for just $8. I know that the Grizz are coming off of a disappointing loss in Dallas where they collapsed in the fourth quarter, but Bennett, I've tried to tell you, they're 6-1 in their last 7. That's what I'm choosing to look at, focus on. Grizz are 6-1 in the last 7, 7-1 in their last 8. That's what we're hoping for tonight. Tip off 7 o'clock. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
What's today's biggest game?
Can I interest you in Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, this is a good one.
Really is.
Yeah, we got a good game tonight.
Isn't it interesting? Packers Lions.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions used to be a joke. They were the joke franchise.
Yep. Now it's their division. They're the kings of the North.
Now it's their world. It might be their world. Eminem might be in attendance tonight.
Okay.
Did you see his father?
His mom.
Mom passed.
And his brother had some bad things to say about her. Yeah.
I didn't see that. Tell me.
Oh, I don't know the exact. I gather they didn't have a good relationship.
Yeah. She seemed like she struggled in life for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what a lot of that early music was about.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Lions are 3-point favorites tonight.
Okay. Is it in Detroit?
Yes.
Are we in Detroit, Michigan?
Yes, we're on Prime Video.
Lions
51.5 is the total.
Favorites tonight.
It's got funny business written all over it, buddy.
Yeah, it really does because they put up a ton of points. Like I mean,
how many nerds out there right now are going, hold up, the 11-1
they
Lions are at home,
everybody.
and all I got to do is lay 3 points? Funny business. Do what you want, but this is funny business. If it was 3.5, I'm a little more open-minded, but this is 3. That's funny business. Do what you want, but that's funny business.
Give me the Packers.
I like it.
Go Pack, go.
I like it. Everything about you wants to lay the 3 points, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's why you take the 3 with the Packers, because everything in your being says lay the 3 points with the Lions at home. But you are always wrong.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I can't give in.
So if you're always wrong, and you have strong beliefs about something,
I so bad want to take the Lions.
Why wouldn't you just
God,
do
I want to take the Lions.
Opposite? Why would you? If I told you every time you go to this restaurant, the food is terrible. At some point you stop going to that restaurant, wouldn't you?
Yes, of
if
course.
Every time you make a pick, it's wrong. Why not figure out what pick you feel strongly about and then just do the opposite? This is what we're doing tonight.
It really is.
Yes, we both want to take the Lions. We like them. Eminem's mom just passed.
Yeah.
You know?
R.I.P. Yeah.
She's up there looking down. She'll be looking down tonight at Ford Field. Or looking up, depending. You know?
Whatever.
It's I'll talk to
I don't know.
I'll have to talk to Marshall's brother about that. But she's looking from somewhere, either up or down, at Ford Field. Everything about us wants to take the Lions -3.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go. It's funny business. We identified it. Tonight we profit.
What are we watching on TV?
Okay, can I interest you in Girls Gone Wild, the untold story?
I don't know. I saw the trailer. Yeah.
You don't like Girls Gone Wild? You prefer your girls more tame?
I mean, I saw that. I used to see the infomercials back in the day. I've never consumed. Like I never bought the video.
I never bought.
What? Okay, I can't remember. There was always the infomercials late at night. The girls. Was it a VHS DVD that you could order?
I feel like you ordered a DVD or a VHS or something
of the Girls Gone Wild.
I also never owned one, which is probably shocking.
Yeah. It feels like that. This could never happen today.
No.
You wouldn't.
Think about how stupid this is.
Yeah.
It was like 1997 when this launched. So this was in college. I'm actually disappointed in myself. Why didn't I have Girls Gone Wild?
Probably best you didn't.
I should have, though. So 1997, and that was the marketing strategy. What they did, Joe Francis is the centerpiece of the whole thing.
Yep.
And he sounds like a real...
Yeah, he sounds like a creepo.
Yeah, like he's a little... I don't know about him. I don't know about that guy. But the whole idea was, let's go to spring break locations. Let's go to Panama City, whatever, where young women are drinking and
getting wild,
popping pills and snorting, whatever they're into, right? Taking their shirts off, making out with each other. Like, let's go get into that. put it on camera with consent, get them to sign some stuff, and then let's market it on late night television when a bunch of horny dudes are up watching Letterman, and we'll make $20 million. And that is what they did.
Yeah.
But no, it couldn't work today. Because why are we buying videos of women at Panama City? We got whatever you're after, it's on you.
Oh, yeah.
You can find whatever you want. If you want to see boobs, you can find that. It's the easiest thing to find. So, like, there's no market for this anymore. But it was massive. Massive when it was massive. And now Joe Francis.
Yep.
He's a part of the documentary. He speaks on camera for the first time, I think, in more than 10 years. Seems somewhat interesting. And they got all these women now. You know, they're not 19 anymore.
That's right.
You know, now they're 49. They're me. You know? And they're all like, we were taken advantage of. How you feel about that?
I think they were probably taken advantage of.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just knowing what we know. I believe they were taken advantage of.
Because I looked at some comments and some people said, hey, you saw the camera? You signed the document?
Yeah.
You did what you did.
Yeah, my response to that was I think that legally it's like these days it's impossible to say that you got someone's consent who was drunk or effed up.
Yeah, that's a rape charge these days.
Yeah, yeah. So not going to work. Not going to fly.
Bennett, I think you're right. Anyway, Girls Gone Wild, The Untold Story, it is now streaming on Peacock. I believe it's 3 episodes. All 3 episodes are now available.
I'll watch it.
I think I'm actually going to watch it.
Yeah, just because I'm like always fascinated with these things that I remember from like the, 90s, early 2000s, stuff like that. That just, it was, I mean, that was just something that you always saw. Everybody knew what Girls Gone Wild was. You saw those infomercials. It was like the Girls Gone Wild infomercial followed by the like buy 5 CDs and get 1 free or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was simpler times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it simpler times?
Yeah.
Girls Gone Wild, The Untold Story. You can find it on Peacock right now.
What's the best thing we've read?
I don't know if it's the best, but I did make the case for your Tennessee Vols to be ranked number 1 in the top 25 and 1 in every other human poll or rankings that exist. So if you haven't read that yet, you can find it right now. It's at cbssports.com.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Oh, man, I don't like to see this, Bennett.
What's going on?
Jeff Passan, breaking news. Lou Severino is former Met. Signed a $67 million deal with the Oakland Athletics, who aren't even the Oakland. I don't know if
they're the Sacramento Athletics.
Why would you leave the Metropolitans to go to the Athletics?
I don't know.
Probably $67 million.
Probably so.
Yeah. 3 years, $67 million to probably do it. Anyway.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm not going to let that ruin my Thursday.
Okay.
Not going to let that ruin my Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. Oh, that's Jessica Benson in studio.
She'll be here.
That's always a good time, isn't it?
Yes.
JB will be in studio. We'll look back at Grizz-Kings. Get ready for a bunch of conference championship games in college football. Memphis, Arkansas State on Sunday. Should be a fun show tomorrow. Looking forward to it already. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll enjoy mine. Meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.